Deadly hantavirus outbreak.
The spread of hantavirus.
A deadly outbreak.
New hantavirus cases this morning.
Could be the start of another pandemic. 3 passengers died.
Hantavirus.
Hantavirus.
Hantavirus. Hantavirus.
Here we go again. Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we might be having to prepare ourselves for the worst. Recently, health officials have been investigating a deadly virus outbreak on board a cruise ship, and unless you've been living under a rock, then you'll know this one is pretty serious. Passengers across several countries are being monitored 24/7 after being exposed to it. Others have been evacuated by officials in hazmat suits, and tragically, multiple passengers have now reportedly died because of it. And what I'm referring to is the hantavirus. Once again, cruise ships are being dragged into the conversation about global outbreaks and pandemics. So the big question everyone's asking, are cruise ships starting to become risky again? And before this video starts sounding like the beginning of a zombie apocalypse movie, health officials are not saying that this is another COVID situation.
Stop the cap.
But recently, headlines about a deadly virus linked to a cruise ship started blowing up. And naturally, the internet and the press immediately lost their mind. People started asking, is this the next pandemic? Are cruise ships just giant floating petri dishes? Or should people be taking precautions into their own hands and cancelling their vacations? Now, as somebody who literally lives and works on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, I wanted to talk about this story from an actual cruise ship perspective. Because honestly, after working at sea, I completely understand why people panic whenever the words virus and cruise ship appear in the same sentence. And trust me, when illness starts spreading on cruise ships, things get weird. Fast. If you're new to the channel, my name's Matt, and I'm a professional ice skater travelling around the world working on cruise ships. I'm currently on Adventure of the Seas travelling around the Caribbean, and spending most of my time doing ice shows, hosting public skating sessions, and enjoying all that crew life has to offer. And just before we continue with the video, guys, if you could do me a huge favour by subscribing and helping the channel grow, because we're so close to getting to 10,000 subscribers. And if you guys seen in my recent videos, then I've just released new fitness plans for you guys to help you get in crazy shape in just 30 days. There's 3 plans to choose from, which are designed to help you burn fat, lose weight, and build muscle definition. And if you guys are interested and you want to find out more, then you can find it in the video description, where there's a nice little discount waiting for you. But with all that being said, now let's properly dive into the video. So first, what actually happened? Because before this week, I'd never even heard of the hantavirus either. Apparently it's a rare virus, usually linked to rodents and contaminated areas, which already sounds horrifying enough.
What's that?
But the reason this specific story started making headlines around the world is because health officials believe it involves something called the Andes strain. And unlike most hantaviruses, the strain has shown limited human-to-human transmission in close contact situations. Now again, the officials are saying that the overall public risk is low.
Liar, liar, plants for hire.
But the second people hear outbreak, virus, and cruise ships, everyone immediately starts having COVID flashbacks. The outbreak was reportedly connected to a cruise ship sailing through parts of South America and Antarctica. And investigators believe that passengers may have been actually exposed to the virus before even getting on board, possibly during outdoor excursions or wildlife activities.
The only thing I can do is to drink my own pee.
Symptoms can also take time to appear. So imagine this. Thousands of guests board a ship. Everybody's excited. Drinks are flowing. People are posting sunset selfies. And meanwhile, somebody on board might already be infected without even realizing it. And that's the scary part. Because cruise ships are basically floating cities, and if one sickness breaks out, it spreads like wildfire. And honestly, people who've never worked on cruise ships don't realise how insane the environment is here. You've got thousands of people from all over the world living together in one enclosed space. Everybody touches the same elevator buttons, the same buffet utensils, the same handrails.
Step back, I think I'm gonna vomit!
People are packed into theatres, pools, casinos, 24 hours a day. And unlike a hotel, you can't exactly just go home. You're literally trapped at sea, which suddenly sounds less relaxing when you have someone coughing behind you at the buffet. And as crew members, it's even more intense, because guests vacation on cruise ships, but crew live here, sometimes up to 6 or 7 months. You like what I did there? Another thing for us is that crew cabins are always really small. Some departments even share their own bathroom. You're constantly around people. So whether any illness starts going around on board, everybody notices it immediately.
Oh! Ew! What the fuck?
For example, one person catches a cold, and within 3 days, half the crew mess is coughing like they synchronized it. Cruise ship rumors spread faster than the internet disconnects, and trust me, that happens very fast. One thing people don't realise is how quickly ships quickly turn into outbreak mode. The atmosphere changes overnight. Suddenly crew members like myself are literally disinfecting everything. Handrails, walls, elevator buttons, and even the tables. You can walk through the entire ship and see crew members literally cleaning every surface like their life depended on it. Buffets become fully served, and sanitizer stations start to randomly appear every 5 feet. But guests start acting differently too. They start by avoiding the long queues and crowded elevators. And what I find quite funny is passengers start whispering, "Hey, did you hear someone got sick on deck 7? And by day 2, everyone on board suddenly becomes a disease expert.
You very smart. You a genius.
But honestly, I don't really blame them, because COVID completely changed how people viewed cruise ships forever. Before 2020, most people never really thought about outbreaks at sea. And now, the second a virus gets mentioned anywhere near a cruise ship, people start to panic immediately. And cruise lines know this, because after COVID, the industry became obsessed with sanitation and outbreak prevention. And honestly, ships probably sanitize more aggressively now than some places on land, because cruise companies understood one thing: if something happens on board, it becomes global news instantly. A virus outbreak in a hotel, most people don't hear about it, right? But a virus outbreak linked to a cruise ship, and all of a sudden, it's everywhere.
I knew something was wrong when a little pretty white girl ran into a black man's arms. Something is wrong here.
I'll be honest, stories like this hit differently when you actually work at sea yourself, because when passengers leave after their 7-day vacation, the crew members of course stay on board. This ship becomes our home, so whenever stories like this start appearing online, crew members immediately think, what would happen to us if it reached our ship? We're all gonna die! Because unlike passengers, we can't just leave. We work here, eat here, and live here every single day. And that's something most guests never really think about. Cruise ships are guaranteed to feel like a vacation for passengers, but behind the scenes there's a functioning city with thousands of workers living together non-stop. Which brings me on to the next big question that everyone seems to be asking online. Is this the next pandemic? Right now, health officials say no. Experts say that this virus is not able to spread as easy as COVID-19. And the overall public risk is currently considered very low. But honestly, what I think this story really shows is how sensitive people still are after everything the world went through during COVID. Because now, anytime people hear about a dangerous outbreak on board a cruise ship, everybody immediately starts imagining the worst case scenario.
I don't like where this is going.
And to be fair, with cases like the HANTAVIRUS, I can kind of understand why. And at the end of the day, this story is still developing. Passengers are still being monitored, and health officials are still investigating. But as somebody currently living and working on board a cruise ship, I thought it would be important to talk about the reality of what it's really like living at sea when situations like this do arise. Because all in all, cruise ships are an amazing place, and I wouldn't change this lifestyle for anything. But they're also one of the strongest environments when it comes to illness spreading. Forget about that. Alright, well I think that's going to bring us to the end of the video, guys. Would stories like this stop you from cruising? Or do you think cruise ships are getting unfairly blamed whenever an outbreak happens? Feel free to leave it in the comment section, guys, and if you want to see more cruise content, then make sure you share, subscribe, like, do all that kind of stuff, and help me get my videos to as many people as possible. And quickly, before I forget, make sure to check out my 30-day fitness plans to help you get in crazy shape in just 30 days, and that's going to be me for now. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.